Yeah, so question one, name the following the hormone increasing the reabsorption of water by kidney tubules, ADH, antidiuretic hormone. And process of conversion of several molecules of glucose to one molecule of starch, polymerization. Then type of cell division at germinal cells in the human body, meiosis. Then group of hormones which influence other endocrine glands to produce hormones, tropic hormones. Then the change in an organism resulting due to stimulus, I've written reflex action.
Response, right?
Yeah,
Response.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can we write vasopressin in the first one?
yeah, it's the same.
Like is response, like just response.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the
What was
fourth
the
one?
third one? Can you repeat that?
Third is meiosis.
Fourth one? What is it?
Fourth, tropic hormone.
Okay. But like tropic hormone is like one hormone, like group of
No,
hormones.
no, no. Tropic hormones are a group of hormones which
Okay.
stimulate other hormones. So, okay.
Cretinism. So answers H. Hyposecretion of thyroxine. Prolactin. F. Stimulates production of milk by mammary glands. Exophthalmic goiter. Answers G. Hypersecretion of thyroxine. 4. DNA and histones. Answers C. Nucleosome. Fifth, dwarfism. Answers D. Hyposecretion of growth hormone. 10.
The outermost layer of meninges is paramatter. It's false. The outermost layer of the meninges is the dura mater. B, second one. Poroid is the nutritive layer and also prevents reflection of light. True. Won't it be refraction of light?
No, it's reflection and scattering.
Okay. Then third, dilation of the pupil is brought about by the sympathetic nervous system. That's true. Fourth, plants that manufacture their own food are termed as heterotrophs. Frogs are termed as autotrophs. Fifth one, endoplasm and reticulum is absent in erythrocytes. False, nuclei is absent in erythrocytes.
Even
endoplasm.
Oh,
It's true, right?
Yeah, there are three things absent, right? Like
Erythrocytes have no organelles, right? I mean, they don't have any.
they don't have mitochondria, ER.
Yeah, they don't have nucleus.
And
nothing.
nucleus. It's because they don't have rigidity and endoplasmic reticulum gives rigidity, so they don't have ER.
So second, third, and fifth are true, na?
Yeah.
Yeah, could someone repeat the first answer?
False.
Yeah.
Dura
it's
mater.
due.
But like, are we allowed to change? I mean, it's a very dumb, but are we allowed to change the second last word because the revised kind of?
Yeah. The dura mater is two words.
No, I don't think so.
No, by the question, they mean that either you can change it to the innermost layer of meninges with matter, or you can change
Yeah.
the dura mater.
Where's that given that the endoplasmic mitochondria is absent?
Blue box.
It's in a red or blue box in circulatory system, and it's like lumbar. Manvi, it's on page 94.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, ATP, adenosine triphosphate, ACTH, adenocorticotropic hormones, SAN, sinoatrial node, and TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone.
What did you say for NADP?
Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate.
Okay.
Inborn reflex action, hiccup. I didn't get the second one.
Proton.
Germanium, na?
Even coleus now. Coleus, croton.
What about
For the
germanium? Is
first
that
one, we can write sneezing, coughing also, right?
Yeah. And
I
flushing of
think
the
even
eye.
germanium is variegated, right?
Yeah, germanium.
Germanium is an element.
Then third one, complementary nitrogenous base of adenine in DNA is a nucleotide. Then fourth, chemical which
Thymine.
absorbs carbon dioxide from air.
It's thymine.
It's
Shreya,
thymine.
Thymine.
Thymine with adenine.
yeah, is ATCG.
Wait, what was the second one?
Coleus
Second one
or
was
proton.
coleus, proton or germanium.
It's geranium.
Wait,
Because-
variegated leaves means which do not have chlorophyll in some places, right?
Yeah, Yeah. the one to prove that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I think the leaf is geranium because germanium is a metalloid. It's an element.
Okay, we got
might-
it. We got
yeah.
the pronunciation.
Okay, fine.
English class nahi chal rahi.
Okay, sorry, fine, continue.
Then the fourth one, a chemical which absorbs carbon dioxide from the air, sodium hydroxide.
Potassium hydroxide.
Potassium.
Both are like
Both are
accepted.
okay, both work.
I didn't get the fifth one.
Even iodine.
Lymphocytes or monocytes.
Lymphocytes or monocytes.
Like, can we write like agranulocytes instead of that? Sorry,
I
granulocytes.
wrote both, like agranulocytes and brackets, my lymphocytes.
Okay.
But then they have asked us an example, so I don't know.
Yeah, you can't. I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
you have
but
to
how
write.
do you know they asked
lymphocyte.
him to do example? Either
Really?
is
No,
like,
I
you
don't
could
know.
either like
Because there are two examples.
lymphocytes.
There
They just
are
said
two
to give
examples.
marks.
No? हाँ, तो
They're not going to cut your marks,
the
right?
point is that there are two examples. You have to give one.
If they like ask one example and if we give two separated by a comma, will they cut marks or something for giving options?
No, they won't. I mean, both are right. So
They I think in prelims I've heard that they do cut marks if they've asked for one example and you're giving two. That's what I've heard. I'm not sure.
I guess like we can write this and this, like, because
If both are correct, then there's no problem now. Like, if one's wrong, then they'll be like, why are you giving us an option?
F. Differentiate between the following on the basis of instructions mentioned within brackets: stoma and stroma. For stroma, I've written it contains thylakoids arranged in grana and function is to carry out exchange between respiratory gases or to enable diffusion of respiratory gases.
That is stoma, na?
Yeah, that is stoma.
Then what's for stroma?
Stroma is the thylakoid. I
That's
don't
it?
know
Site for
thylakoid.
light independent reaction.
yeah,
Okay.
stoma is for exchange of gases and stroma is the site for dark fields.
Okay, so stoma is diffusion of respiratory gases and facilitates transpiration. Light reaction and dark reaction. Light reaction occurs in the thylakoids containing chlorophyll.
So dark reaction occurs in stroma, na?
Stroma of the leaf.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lymphocytes and neutrophils. Structure of the nucleus. Lymphocytes have a single large nucleus, and neutrophils have a nucleus with 3 to 4 lobes. Hypotonic solution and hypotonic solution condition of a plant cell when placed in them. Hypotonic solution, the condition is turgid, and hypotonic is plasmolens.
Similar
So
flaccid.
that's flaccid, yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, in the textbook, is it given the site of dark reaction?
It's not. It's not there in the text.
It is.
Given.
It is given. Where is it?
Where is it?
On
Under
that
the-
page,
under
like
the
the
dark
other
reaction.
paragraph.
Also for like basophils, neutrophils,
Oh
and
yeah, it's in
eosinophils.
that diagram type thingy on the top.
Yeah.
For
Page
basophils,
number 72.
eosinophils, and neutrophils, you remember that 3 to 4 or 1 to 2.
72.
What? What was with the neutrophils thing?
Yeah, do you all remember like 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 lobes, like the number or just like it is in lobes?
The number also. Neutrophils have 3 to 4 or 1 to 2?
3 to 4.
What is the function of stroma?
Carries out the light independent but dark phase of photosynthesis.
Okay.
Can we
Oh,
also
next.
write that the thylakoids lie in it? It's not a function, but can we write it?
Yeah, you can. Just to add. Dynamic balance and static balance definition. Dynamic balance is the balance when the body is in motion and is regulated by the semicircular canals contained in the inner ear. And static balance is the balance when the body is stationary or in position and is regulated by the vestibules in the inner ear. Copy and complete the following by filling in the blanks 1 to 5 with appropriate words, terms, phrases. To test the leaf for starch, the leaf is boiled in water to 1, kill the cells. It is next boiled in 2, methylated spirit, 2, 3, dissolved chlorophyll. The leaf
1
is
minute. Can we write alcohol instead of methylated spirit?
Like, shouldn't we write like methylated spirit over a water bath?
I think methylated spirit and alcohol are both are accepted, and water bath, like you can mention it, but I don't know. I don't think it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not compulsory.
Okay.
It is then placed in a dish and iodine solution is added. The region which contains starch turns fire blue-black.
First one is plasmolysis, is the condition in which the cell contents shrink and the cytoplasm does not press against the cell wall. Adaptation of the eye, it is the change in the eye to see the object.
I have a question. The definition you said for plasmolysis, wasn't that for flaccidity?
Yeah, I've written a different answer for plasmolysis. I've written
Yeah, me too.
withdrawal of water from the cell as a result of exosmosis when the cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, resulting in the shrinkage of the cell.
What cell you had freezed for a moment? Can you repeat the second
Oh,
one?
where was that?
Second.
Adaptation of the eye, it is the change in the eye to see objects at far or near distance.
That's accommodation, right?
That's accommodative.
Then what's adaptation?
Adaptation definition, like there's no proper definition in the textbook.
I think
it's
it's
supposed to-
explain the term, so we can just explain.
When we write dilation and constricting of pupil to view objects in different light.
I think dilation and constriction is one point, but we also need to mention about the pigments, right? Like the pigment is produced and the pigment is bleached according to the level of light.
Can we just write the changes brought about in the eye to view objects in different light intensities?
Yeah, according to Google, it says adaptation is the ability of the retina of the eye to adjust to various levels of light.
What is the difference between accommodation and adaptation?
I think adaptation is related to levels of light, and accommodation is to see the distances of objects.
Okay.
So what is the final answer? Like only light intensity, no? Or are we supposed to mention the pigments and
I'll explain also because it says explain, not define.
okay. What will be the explanation for the pigments then?
In the dark, rhodopsin is produced, and in the light, rhodopsin is bleached and iodopsin is produced.
Okay. Thank you.
Flex reflects due to past experience. Is there a certain definition in the textbook for this one?
Yeah, there is. I'll tell you the page.
It's on 132.
Yeah, 132. It's an orange box.
Can you like repeat the definition?
Pulse, I didn't get.
I think he said he didn't get pulse.
Could someone repeat for conditioned reflex, like whoever had the textbook?
A conditioned reflex is an involuntary, spontaneous, automatic response brought about due to a previously learned experience.
You can also write it's one which develops over a lifetime due to experiences or learning, and is also called acquired.
Yeah, to explain that we can try. Vatsal?
I said I didn't get pulse.
Okay, what's that? Pulse, whoever got it.
Pulse is the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the walls of the artery during ventricular systole.
Can we write like at the end, like in the walls of the aorta, of the arteries, or?
Yeah, it is in the walls of the artery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote when blood flows through them, even that's okay now.
Yeah.
There's actually a definition given in the textbook, so maybe you should see that. Usme blood is not given.
Acha, okay.
It's on page 106. The blue box.
Can I continue or?
Yeah.
Photosynthesis, it is the process by which plant cells using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll produce food substances and oxygen as a byproduct.
Green plant cells, right? A green plant.
Sorry.
Like in the green parts of the plant or the green plant, because the green parts of the plant.
You can say plants containing chlorophyll. Right?
Okay, Then Vedant, you can do question 2A part.
Yeah. Mention three characteristics feature of root hair cell to absorb water from soil. The three features of the root hair cells to absorb water from the soil are large surface area, cell membrane is present that is semi-permeable, and cell sap has more concentration of solute than the surrounding soil. Explain active transport. Active transport is the movement of substances, iron or salt, from the region of the low concentration to the region of the high concentration by using energy. Mention the four main forces which contribute to the ascent of sap. The forces which contribute to the ascent of sap are transpiration pull, root pressure, capillary force, and adhesion. How does water move from the root hair to the xylem vessels? The water, after entering the root hair, passes through the epidermal layer of the cell, then through the cortex, then through the endodermis, and then to the xylem by cell-to-cell osmosis.
Can you repeat the third one?
Forces which contribute to ascent of sap are transpiration pull, root pressure, capillary force, and adhesion.
Can we write suction force too? Like, will that be accepted?
It's in the textbook, the last page of absorption.
For the fourth one, you said the order like first you said epidermis, then cortex, and then endodermis.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it like endodermis, cortex, then
Endocortex.
yeah, and then pericycle, and then the xylem.
It's from the root hairs to the xylem, right? Not
Yeah.
from the xylem to the root.
Yeah.
So epidermis comes first.
No, endodermis comes first.
I see.
Like the full order is endodermis, cortex, epidermis, pericycle, phloem, and then xylem. But here we can't include phloem now.
In the textbook, it says epidermis is first on page 47, the diagram.
The diagram, yeah, it's epi is first. Even I've written epi first. I said it wrong while saying it.
When they ask how, do they expect us to tell the process like osmosis, diffusion, whatever?
In the fourth subpart,
Yeah.
we can say cell to cell osmosis, end osmosis.
And also imbibition, right? Like somewhat.
Yeah.
Now, can you repeat this answer?
The water after entering the root hair passes through the epidermal layer of the cell, then through the cortex, then through the endodermis, then to the xylem by cell to cell osmosis.
Okay. Any other doubt in this question? Or we should continue? The B part, I'll do it. So, observe the diagram of a neuron and answer the questions that follow. Identify and name the type of neuron. We haven't like done this in school. In the textbook also, like it's not.
What do you mean by type of neuron? Like it can be sensory or motor or mixed, no?
It can be myelinated also.
Yeah, myelinated and non-myelinated.
Or probably
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
copyright multipolar neuron.
What is
Where
multipolar?
are those
Half-play.
types given? No, even like myelinated and where is
Yeah, nothing is given in the textbook as such for type of neuron. Even if it's sensory and motor, nowhere is given to identify.
okay.
There is nothing over there to identify also.
Probably if they would have given an arrow or anything, we would have been able to figure out whether it was a motor or sensory.
Yeah, if
But they haven't given
receptor muscles also we will come to know, but how will we come to know like this?
I think Dhirubhai had myelinated or non-myelinated.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, it's not there in the portion.
Then you could identify the neuron.
What?
If they gave us a reflex arc, the spinal nerve, and the association neuron, then we would have been able to identify.
Yeah,
The
that's
dots.
with the arrows now.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer is myelinated. Then second, state the function of the neuron mentioned in. Then what is the function of myelinated neuron?
I just wrote conducts nerve impulses like normal neuron.
So non-myelinated does not conduct.
No, but like, I mean, it's not in our portion, right? And if it comes in the paper, I only knew like myelinated, non-myelinated. I didn't know individual functions. So if you read conduct nerve impulses, it's for all neurons, so they can't give it wrong.
Okay.
So I wrote the answer as sensory, and the function I wrote that conducts the impulses from the receptors to the receptor muscles to the central nervous system, that is brain and the spinal cord. Then third, what is the role?
But I have a question. How did you figure out it was a sensory neuron?
I just guessed. I don't know. The answer is myelinated, but I don't
Okay.
know. Then what is the role of part one? Part one is the myelin sheath. It provides nourishment to the neuron and prevents the mixing of the impulses.
Also, it insulates the neuron.
What?
It insulates the neuron, provides insulation,
Yeah.
and prevents mixing of impulses.
Yeah. And in the diagram, what is the second part? Like, it is not in the question. Achha, it is second and third. Second, neurolemma, and third, node of Ranvier. Is it correct?
Yeah, I wrote the same.
Yeah.
Fifth, explain the meaning of a synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft is the junction between the two neurons, the small gap between the axon endings and the next neurons, dendrites, where the nerve impulses jump to the next neuron.
So synapse and synaptic cleft are the same now.
I think synapse is the point of contact and synaptic cleft refers to the gap. Like it's essentially the same, but like for synaptic cleft you need to mention gap.
Okay.
There is no contact, but like in the textbook it is given that synapse is the point of contact. Then explain what is the role of receptors in the nervous activity. They are the place where the stimuli from the external environment is received. Any change in the environment is conceived at that point, at that muscle. It starts the reflex arc.
Question 3.
Given below is a representation of blood circulation in human body. Observe the figure. Yeah, okay. First one, give 2 points of structural difference between 3 and 4. So 3 is a vein and 4 is an artery. So for vein, I wrote thin muscular walls and arteries have thick muscular walls. Veins have a wider lumen while arteries have a narrower lumen. Second one, name the heart chambers 1 and 2. 1 is the left ventricle and 2 is the right auricle. Third one, draw a neat label diagram to show the cross section of blood vessel 3. So that will be the vein diagram. Fourth one is explain systemic circulation. So the circulation of blood through the major part of the body, starting with the aorta, which transports oxygenated blood to the body and pours it back into the heart. I'm not sure about this definition, but I just wrote whatever I could.
Systemic circulation, can you repeat the definition?
I just wrote circulation of blood through the major part of the bodies, starting with the aorta, which transports oxygenated blood to the body and pours it back into the heart.
Yeah, we can add like it extracts the waste materials and things.
Yeah. And the fifth one is sleeping near a burning furnace in a small room without ventilation may cause death. This is because of carbon monoxide poisoning. So hemoglobin forms a stable compound with carbon monoxide called carboxyhemoglobin, and this reduces the capacity of the hemoglobin to carry oxygen, and thus it leads to death.
Do we need to explain how all those situations like make carbon monoxide, or like we can just say that in one sentence now?
I don't know. I think
It's
we can
small
just
only. It's small, so you can explain.
yeah.
I think one thing more we can mention is that oxygen is not received by important organs such as brain and the heart.
Yeah, we could probably add that.
In the vein diagram, what are the labelings like in the vein diagram?
I didn't even draw it.
I had a question. This diagram for the weight, it's that one on page 103, right?
Yeah.
Structural
I think we've
difference.
given like an artery and vein together.
Middle layer, outer layer, something like that. And there's
Yeah,
some
we can
complexium
mention-
also given. Biology.
Medica externa and all that.
Yeah, and lumen and endothelium and all of that.
So we write that or simply like middle layer, upper layer.
I think either is okay.
Okay. Then B part, Mishi, you want to do? Or...
Yeah, I don't mind. Just 1 second. So this disease is named the eye defect. It's hyperopia. Mention a cause of the defect. The eyeball is shortened from front to back. Or
Isn't it myopia?
Myopia.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the amount?
Yeah, well, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's myopia, sorry. So the cause is the eyeball is elongated from front to back, or the lens is too curved. Draw a diagram. Okay, I haven't drawn a diagram.
Yeah.
It will be that concave
Concave
lens.
lens wala.
Yeah.
And like there are no labelings, right? Only the lens is labeled. No?
Yeah. And you can
And
use
name the concave.
You have to
Don't you have to
label
label
the
it?
lens. You have to label the
No,
lens.
you label the lens and you label the cornea and the conjunctiva. Don't label anything else. Namita miss will cut one mark like that.
Where will cornea and conjunctiva come from?
Don't you like have to draw the front part at least?
I don't think so. In the prelims, I only drew like the yellow spot, the red, and the three concentric layers. I didn't draw conjunctiva or anything.
Yeah, same.
But yellow spot is supposed to label, no?
Yeah, yellow spot, lens, and the concave lens.
Huh.
So we have to label
Like,
something.
that's it. You all don't draw front part to the lens.
No.
I guess like it isn't given in the question, so I guess. But if they ask like especially like draw the lens ka diagram, then we should.
Because I always draw it. That's why I got a bit confused.
Cornea used to be labeled at the bulb.
What?
Which fluid keeps the anterior part of the eye lens moist? Aqueous humor. And name the structure which changes the shape of the eye lens for viewing objects at different distances. The ciliary muscles in the suspensory ligament.
I've written ciliary body.
I don't know
Even now.
which one should we mention, like suspensory ligaments or the ciliary body?
Certain suspensory ligaments attached to the ciliary body.
Okay.
Can't we just write both, like the ciliary body
Yeah.
through the suspensory ligament?
But then that can't be optional.
We can write ciliary body, comma, along with the suspensory ligaments. Because like both of them are attached to each other anyway.
Okay. Write the location of the iris. So the iris is an opaque discoid tissue which is between the cornea and the eye lens, and it is continuous in the aqueous chamber with the choroid.
And also like it's like flaps on the top of the lens.
It partially covers the lens.
Okay.
Can you repeat the location like slowly?
Yeah, I can. So it is an opaque discoid tissue.
This what?
Discord, DISCORT. So this definition is by my tuition teacher,
Okay, it is an opaque discoid tissue.
which is suspended between the cornea and the eye lens.
Then
And is continuous in the aqueous chamber.
then
With the choroid.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Then question 4. Again we should go like from top. So Akash. You can
Yeah, I did this, but I didn't get many of this. Like it was very confusing. So if
That's
anybody
okay.
got all, then
I also remember this question.
Which one is this? This one.
Hormone
A.
Mara.
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah.
See, one is glucagon, two is insulin. Then the cells for one is alpha cells, second is beta cells. Then hormone definition, it is a substance produced by an endocrine gland and is directly poured into the bloodstream and acts on a specific target organ to bring about a change in the organ. Then third and fourth, I'm not very sure, but I just randomly wrote anything because maybe the gods are with me. So 3 I wrote polypeptides, 4 I wrote peptides. I don't know.
I wrote glycogen and glucose.
Yeah,
Even I wrote glycogen.
Glycogen, sorry.
So
There's
which one?
3 glucose or glycogen because
3 is glycogen and 4 is glucose.
How did you figure that out?
It's how?
because
Because when
Because
it's converted to 4 blood sugar, it raises blood sugar. So when glycogen converts to glucose, blood sugar raises. And when glucose is converted to glycogen, it lowers blood sugar.
Yeah, or simply if you've written like 2 is insulin, then insulin causes conversion of glucose to glycogen. So you can just figure that out, I think.
Yeah, exactly. If you understand the first part, you have to
Can
understand.
someone repeat the answer again?
3 is glycogen or glycogen, whatever, and 4 is glucose.
And what is this three eyes in the middle over here?
Yeah, what is that?
Those are cells.
So scary. What cells?
Uh,
Two cells, I
beta
think.
cells. Beta cells.
Beta cells.
Better not to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, are they trying to indicate islets of Langerhans?
Why wouldn't they draw that?
Yeah, it can be.
I think that's the glucose utilization which the insulin favors.
No, I think they're saying that the insulin converts the glucose to glycogen both in the muscles and the liver, so they're probably muscle cells.
Yeah, I think that is muscles only.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then fifth one, it is fatigue and frequent urination.
Can we add excessive thirst?
Yeah,
Glucose in the urine.
Is fatigue a symptom or not?
Yeah.
it's
fatigue
loss
is-
of weight, and in some cases, I like vision
Yeah,
loss.
But isn't like vision loss, I think, like insulin shock? I have no clue.
Insulin shock is like you go into a coma.
Yeah,
That is hypersecretion.
hypersecretion.
Then the B part, Akash or anyone. Akash.
I told you, I have not done this question very properly.
Okay. Then there.
I've done the week.
Okay.
Briefly describe the events taking place in the photochemical phase. First, activation of chlorophyll. The chlorophyll gets activated by the absorption of photons from the light. Second, photolysis, that is breaking of the water molecule. The energy absorbed by chlorophyll is utilized to break up the water molecule into oxygen, hydrogen ions, and free electrons. Then end products. The oxygen component is released as molecular oxygen. Hydrogen ions are used to convert NADP to NADPH. The free electrons are picked up by ADP to convert it to an energy-rich compound ATP by addition of 1-phosphate group. Is there one more step?
Like, do we have to include that this is utilized in this, like, because that is like between photochemical and biosynthetic?
I don't know, because I thought it was, yeah, probably we don't have to, I don't know.
Others you're
Can you repeat?
in the first question, have you included that hydrogen is used for that and electrons are used for that and oxygen is used in that?
Yeah, we have to mention it like.
Okay.
Then the second question was a diagram. So you need to take that hydrilla plant and then there's a test tube and there's like a vessel and there's on water and a piece of
Sunlight.
And she'll cut marks of the
Yeah, she cut like one gold mark for just not drawing the sun. Plus.
How many marks is that question?
I think it's 2-2-1. Like the
Yeah,
division.
there's too much to write. You have to write about photolysis and NADP, oxygen and ADP. Is it like half marks for each? So that you know.
Probably.
If it's 2-1, then you wrote a lot na, in the first answer.
But
But like it was mentioned in the textbook under that point. So if we didn't mention it, they could cut marks for not writing the full answer.
and also photolysis ka definition NADP gets converted to NADPH. Oxygen is given out as molecular oxygen and ADP to ATP by photophosphorylation. But it's too long an answer, na? For 2 marks.
We have time in bio, it's fine.
Plus it's Dhirubhai, like they're gonna give like more tough, I guess. Then for the third answer, I wrote that we'll prefer white light for the experiment. White light consists of all colors of visible light, and chlorophyll absorbs light at both ends of the visible spectrum to perform photosynthesis. Absorb blue and red lights would be the most effective. However, green light is reflected by chlorophyll, which gives it its characteristic green color. Hence, it would not be utilized for photosynthesis and would not prove effective in the experiment.
Yeah, ऐसे ही लिखना है.
Yeah, identify the state with anaphase. During anaphase, the fibrous tract. This instrument around towards the opposite poles of the cell. And what is the chromosome number of the cell? 46 chromosome. Draw a label diagram to show the previous state of metaphase.
104 chromosome.
Yeah.
But like,
because there are 4 in the diagram.
yeah, but then like it's just a diagram. So first,
Yeah, the diagram only.
Because the reason is, if you think about it, humans have 23 pairs, but there are other mammals who have different pairs, right? Different number of pairs. So even in plants, you don't know which species it is. Different species of plants have different number of chromosomes.
Yeah, so you can't.
So we write 4 chromosomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then so metaphase ka diagram just should draw the cell and then 4 chromosomes in the equatorial plate. Then where does mitosis occur in plant bodies? So nucleus of dividing meristem cells. But I have a doubt in this. We can't write somatic cells. Why can't we write somatic cells?
I just wrote growing parts of the plant.
In mitosis, like in the plant cell, it only occurs at the edges. It doesn't occur in all the cells.
I wrote on the tips of the roots and in meristematic cells.
So we can write meristem, no? Nucleus of meristematic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somatic cells we can't write, no?
Somatic, I think if it were an animal cell, then we would write somatic.
Okay.
Okay, explain cytokinesis in a plant cell. So during telophase, a cell plate is laid down at the center of the cell in the equatorial plane, which develops towards the periphery. The cleavage furrow begins to form, and the nucleus and the nuclear membrane reappear and the cleavage furrow starts forming. Eventually, the cell plate deepens, and on completion, 2 new daughter cells are formed.
I have a question.
What was that? What were you answering once again? Which was the question that you were answering right now?
Explain cytokinesis in plant cells.
So won't it be division of cytoplasm?
So I said that now cell plate is formed and then the division happens. Complete.
I had a doubt. The furrow point won't come here, right? Because plant cells don't form furrows, but it forms a cell plate and it just starts dividing from the center. The furrow point will be wrong.
I know, but then how exactly do you say that a gap forms in the cytoplasm? Isn't that like what furrow means?
I just wrote the cell plate. It extends towards the periphery, that is towards the cell membrane, ultimately dividing the parent cell into 2 daughter cells.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we can just write that the cell plate is laid down at the center on the equatorial plane, which grows towards the cell membrane or the periphery, and then the daughter cells divide. Complete division of cytoplasm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I do the B part also?
Okay. If anyone else wants to do, like, they can do 5.
Yeah, I can do B part.
So 5, Ria 5.
Okay. Chemicals found in blood cells, found in the blood which act against antigens, separate in antibodies. Then a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same size and shape, one from each parent, homologous pair of chromosomes. So in name the following, can we write so many homologous pair of chromosomes?
Is this there in portion?
It's not.
Yeah, you can. That's the only answer.
But
it's mentioned. It's mentioned in in cell division on the meiosis part.
But we don't have the definition, we just have it like mentioned.
But I think they just expect that we wasted half our year doing genetics, so we should be knowing. That's why they popped the question up in the paper.
So 4 words is okay, na? Homologous pair of chromosomes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't mention word. They mention biological terms.
Anyways, this is not there. This is
I
not.
wrote the answer as non-sister chromatids. Like, is that like, why is that wrong?
Non-sister chromatids.
There can be two non-sister chromatids which are not of the same size and shape.
Non-sister chromatids can be homologous.
But not all non-sister chromatids will be homologous.
Okay.
Yeah. Then third one, diffusion. Fourth one, the pressure exerted by the cell contents on the plant cell wall. I'm not sure about this, but I wrote turgor pressure.
Yeah.
Then fifth one, the phase of the cardiac cycle in which the auricles contract. So it's atrial systole. Can we also write ventricular diastole?
I wrote ventricular diastole / auricular systole or atrial systole.
Yeah, it's right. Both of them are right.
Okay.
Part of the eye responsible for its shape. I wrote the vitreous tumor. How is it
Yeah,
linked?
same. It's not.
Same.
How can it be lens?
I wrote the eye orbit.
But then in the
I wrote
function of
sclerotic
vitreous-
layer.
But in the function of vitreous humor, it's written
Exactly.
gives shape to the lens. It gives shape to the eye.
Influence shape of the
Give
eye.
shape to the
Eye.
So it's vitreous.
So-
tumor.
Yeah, vitreous tumor. But should we write like the vitreous tumor, the vitreous chamber? Because they said structure, no? Part of the eye. Not
But vitreous chamber, what if it was empty? Then that would not be enough. Vitreous humor is the one that can see the shape.
yeah, okay.
But is would vitreous humor count as a structure because it's a fluid?
I was just okay. Just write the vitreous humor. Even in the prelims, they made the structure and pigment something. Anyway, the blood vessel which supplies oxygenated blood to the liver, hepatic artery, the process by which leukocytes engulf pathogens, phagocytosis, an antiseptic substance present in tears, lysozyme, the fluid present between the layers of the meninges, cerebrospinal fluid.